The bullion and collector coins that you see before you are likely illegal, which means that they are not coins at all. I'm going to be discussing what very well could be the largest gold and silver bullion coin scandal in history. Let's explore! A little backstory behind what I'm going to be talking about here involves the Somali elephant and other bullion coins produced by the Somali Republic, supposedly. In reality, these coins are produced by the Bavarian State Mint, and that's where the controversy lies. I did a video on this a number of years ago and questioned the validity of these coins. I actually reached out to the Central Bank of Somalia for some answers and the Bavarian State Mint for some answers. I got no response from either entity. But there is a gentleman who did, and now there has been a complaint filed against the Bavarian State Mint over this Somalian coin scandal. We're going to go through this. I'm going to be reporting from an article here from KAABTV.com that outlines what's going on here. We're also going to hear from the man himself who filed this complaint, and this has been filed with the German National Contact Point of the OECD by the Somalia Accountability and Transparency Organization, led by Somali Member of Parliament and anti-corruption advocate Dr. Abdilali Hashi Abib. The complaint accuses the Bavarian State Mint and two other German firms of producing and marketing gold and silver coins as official currency of the Republic of Somalia without legal authorization since 2004. That's right. These coins have been produced and really with no real pushback or nobody really questioning it until myself and one other individual has posted videos about this. But nonetheless, these coins in question include the widely circulated Somalia gold and silver elephant and leopard bullion series have been marketed globally as legal Somali tender. That's right. And by the way, I want to thank Summit Metals for sponsoring the channel. And they have great customer service and great prices. So check them out at summitmetals.com. But as we get into this, they feature the Somali coat of arms that you see right here. And they have the denominated in the shillings, 100 shillings here, which is the currency of Somalia. So they look to be official. They're fairly well struck, although some of these coins have shown signs of milk spotting from the Bavarian State Mint. Here's one that has a milk spot on the ear and some others, which is somewhat common in some of the bullion coins. But they're fairly well struck, and they kind of give this semblance of a proof-like finish to them. The Bavarian State Mint has produced euros as well, and they're actually an entity of the German government. But nonetheless, the annual series, prized by collectors and investors for their artistry and high purity, are minted in 4/9 fine gold and 3/9 fine silver, with some also issued in platinum. According to the complaint, neither the Central Bank of Somalia nor the federal government approved or benefited from the program. And Dr. Abib, who also chairs the Accountability and Transparency Caucus in Somalia's House of the People, began investigating after Parliament raised concerns about the central bank's oversight. His findings confirmed long-standing suspicions from numismatic whistleblowers that the coin program was an unauthorized scheme sustained by bribery and manipulation involving individuals posing as Somali government agents. The central bank has no records of this coinage and has received no revenues or royalties, said Dr. Jonathan Levy, legal counsel for Sato USA. This may be the largest known case of a developed country exploiting a fragile state's identity for profit. Germany must be held to account, he says. The complaint alleges that, in addition to unauthorized minting, some of the coins were designed to mock and insult Somali culture. That's interesting. I've not seen any of those, but that's wouldn't surprise me. One example cited a 2020 gold coin featuring former U.S. President Donald Trump on one side and the Somali national emblem on the other. The coins reportedly depict Catholic popes, saints, and religious icons despite Somalia's strict adherence to Sharia law. Dr. Habib's inquiry traced the operation to several German firms, including the Commonwealth Mint and the Fatalik Bureau Limited, a subsidiary of the larger company. In October 2024, he formally notified these entities that they may be violating the Somali Penal Code, including laws prohibiting the counterfeiting of state seals. The Bavarian State Mint subsequently directed Commonwealth Mint's leadership to respond to the allegations. Dr. Habib contends the case underscores a broader pattern of exploitation of nations with weak institutions. While Somalia is often blamed for corruption, in fact, it's got one of the most corrupt governments in the world, and for many years, especially back in the early 2000s, there was barely a government at all in Somalia, which means that likely the Bavarian State Mint capitalized on that and likely involved with some nefarious actors and kind of turned a blind eye to make this thing work out. So it's pretty wild to see how this is now coming to a head here. Potentially could lead to a lawsuit. We'll see. The OECD complaint now awaits review by German authorities, while pressure mounts for a full investigation into the conduct of the Bavarian State Mint and its partners. So this could go, it's now an inquiry, but it could expand into a corruption case, or into an investigation, rather, of corruption. But we're going to hear from Dr. Levy here himself in an interview with RT.
Right. This is an interesting case. It involves a large run of gold and silver bullion coins that are supposedly legal tender for over 2 decades, minted by the German government mint in Bavaria. I'm not the first, nor is Dr. Habib, my client, the member of Somali parliament. We're not the first ones to bring up the question. And this has been ongoing for several years. By whose authority are these coins being minted? We can find absolutely no record at the Central Bank of Somalia. We have their audits from the last 3 years. So who's buying all this gold? Who authorized this? And why is the German government embarked on this program, and why won't they simply produce their authority for us to see? When a member of the Somalia parliament is asking, when the Central Bank of Somalia has repeatedly denied involvement in this scheme, why would the German government continue it? And that's all we're trying to find out here. There's no financial incentive for my client. Of course, anything that would be a financial incentive would flow back to the Somalia government. So it's a case of a German government taking advantage of an African government with very weak civil institutions.
What did you make of Bavaria's response that we played there? They went on to say that it has never actually minted or distributed Somali coins, and said that Emporium Hamburg, that coin house, has valid licenses in place. So it very much contests those claims.
Yes, well, that's not unexpected. As someone who worked on Second World War asset claims involving the Germans and Swiss, we've heard these sort of things about Nazi gold before. And Nazi gold doesn't exist. So we're hearing the same thing. The Somali gold doesn't exist. Go look the other way. We would never do anything wrong. Trust us. But clearly we can see with our own eyes thousands and thousands of ounces of gold being purchased in the name of a country, Somalia, that has no money to purchase the gold. Perhaps it's just a scheme to enrich the mint and their partners. Perhaps there's something more sinister going on here. But I might point out that there's numerous UN and EU and UK sanctions on Somalia. So when you're dealing with gold in Somalia, you would think that these institutions would have very good records and would be more than happy to share them.
Are you saying that there are nefarious agents involved in both countries involved in this?
Yeah, Art, as best we can tell, we have not been able to locate anyone at the Central Bank of Somalia who knows anything about this coinage program. Obviously, we would have asked before we approached the German mint. So there's no knowledge on the Somalia side. We do understand they have so-called agreements signed with purported agents of the Somalia government that no one can find any record of. Sort of what we call a legal fig leaf to allow them to continue a program they started in 2004. Again, if they have these agreements, why not just produce them? Why can't they explain that there's no evidence of Somalia owning any gold, buying any gold, or receiving any funds from what is a very popular bullion coin, the Somalia elephant, which is very popular in North America and Europe, and is minted by the tens of thousands over the years. It is much like a Kruger Rand. In fact, more popular than the Kruger Rand with many people, with many investors and collectors. So let's find out who is actually behind these coins. It's based on our investigation. It's not the government of Somalia.
Well, it raises very interesting questions as well, perhaps about, countries in the West and their attitude to Africa using, as you've been laying out there, very important images that relate to those countries and the people of those African nations not reaping any sort of benefit, it appears. Will that be the focus of what you're seeking to bring to light as well?
Oh, exactly. The utter contempt for Africans by the Germans. The Germans go and lecture the Africans on business ethics and then do just the opposite. I mean, the government of Somalia never issued a coin with Donald Trump on it, of all things. But yet one of the German companies that we're bringing the case against, which is involved with the Bavaria Mint as a partner, issued a coin in 2020, legal tender in Somalia, supposedly, with Donald Trump on it. Now, that is the most ridiculous thing in the world, yet here they are, and claiming that they have perfect authority to do that. I'd like to see their authority to put Donald Trump on the legal tender coinage of Somalia.
What is your overall aim in this? What is the outcome you would like to see from taking this case?
We're mainly want what's called an accounting. We want to know how many of these gold and silver and platinum coins were issued, who was the beneficiary, who purchased the gold, and then we'd like to see some form of restitution to the government of Somalia and its people.
Where do these come from? Let's get some information about these. It is a very mysterious situation, and the questions have been raised before, mainly in social media, like platforms like here on YouTube. And I've always been curious about this, and there's not been much talk about it. It's nice to see that there's action being taken for accountability, and that's really what we want to find out here. And if the Somali government, as corrupt as it may be, I don't know. In fact, that's one of the things that this member of parliament is trying to fight, is corruption in the Somali government. Is hopefully this will get to a point where some of this money could, if there's royalties owed, because usually whenever this coin is produced like this, there are royalties owed to the nation, to the issuing nation. That's part of the premiums that are tied to bullion coins out there. And usually in-state mints like Comsco Mint produces like this, the Korean Tiger. They've got their own issuing authority, and so therefore everything is inside. There's a premium that's tied to it. Same thing with the American Eagle and so forth. But there are other mints that produce for other coins, even private mints like Scottsdale Mint produces for other nations, and those nations get a royalty. There's agreements done. So this is a very interesting situation. We'll see how it unfolds. I'm going to try to keep up with this news here, but this very well could be an unfolding scandal that could be the largest in gold and silver bullion coin history. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Hope you found this video informative, insightful, and educational. Would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.